I want to introduce to you Jim Walker. Jim is from Indianapolis. He's the founder and executive director of something called the Big Car Collaborative. For those of you who have been coming to CEOs for Cities meetings for years, you know that we always have a phenomenal delegation from Indianapolis where very creative things are happening all the time, and Jim is at the center of that. So he's going to do a little interactive session. We hope you enjoy it, and then we'll come back up and do a few more announcements before we go to the JW Marriott for the luncheon. Jim.
Thanks, Lee. How's everybody doing? Good. So in your bag, the bags that you have, you need to get a few things out. There's a card deck that you'll find in there that looks like this. It says Think on the top. So you want to get that out. You want to get a pen out. You should have an ink pen. Any kind of ink pen is fine. And then you'll also want that square pad of paper that you have in there too. So you want a pen, your square pad of paper, and your card deck. And what I'm going to do is talk about the card deck a little bit and explain how that works. And then we're going to do a couple of collaborative, interactive things to sort of carry on with the theme of the collaborative city and also the idea of the art of the city. So we're going to do a little bit of art and a little bit of collaboration. And then we're also going to do a second step, which is to talk to each other a little bit. And the card deck has some questions that you'll be asking each other. So has everybody found your card deck? And everybody has your piece of paper? Okay, so the first exercise that we're going to do is the one that says question and answer. So your card deck is going to be easiest to access from the back. So if you look at the back, the first one says, who made this? If you flip it in a few cards, you'll get to the one that says question and answer. And it says for 2 or more players. So what this card deck is a kind of a collection of exercises that come through time in the field of art. And this is from the Surrealists, who were doing collaborative art making in the 1920s in Europe. And this kind of spilled over to be sort of a national phenomenon, an international phenomenon with artists like Salvador Dali. You might remember some of those. This first one is a very simple one. You take a piece of paper from your pad and fold it in half. And on the top half, you write a question. It could be a CEOs for Cities kind of question about cities. It could be a question about cats. It could be a question about anything you want. So you just write a question. Don't think about the answer, just write a question on your piece of paper. Now fold it once you write your question so that a person who you give it to won't be able to see the question. So it'll be hidden. Okay, is everybody clear? Any questions about this? So Andy Fry, who is also with me at Big Car, is roaming around, so he's there to help. If you have questions. So everybody's written a question down? Okay, so hand the paper to someone, a person or two away from you who didn't get to see your question. You don't want anyone to have snooped and seen what you wrote. And now you are just going to write an answer. And it could be the answer to the question that you had written. It could be the answer to any question imaginable. It could just be any kind of a word. So you're just going to write an answer. And as your card deck says, remarkable facts emerge. So we'll see what kind of facts we get from our questions and answers. So once you get, just so it's hidden, and now once you get it, you should have one from your partner, and you're just going to write the answer on that one. So it's 2 steps. Okay. You wrote a question, you folded it, and you handed it to someone else. Now you have a new thing, and you just write an answer on it. Without looking at the question. That's key. Don't look at the question. That's why we were hiding it. So if you looked at the question, hand it to someone else now. Try again. That's a crucial step. So you cannot. Any answer to any question, it's totally a random question and answer. So once you've done this, you can open it up and see what the question and answer say. So sometimes people laugh, and sometimes it makes very little sense. So has everybody done this now? So all of these things that you're making in this session, please hang on to them because we're going to collect them and we're going to make a little display so we'll be able to see what everybody came up with. Okay, are we ready for the next one? So everybody needs to get their piece of paper that they got that's folded into 3 parts. Aaron, can I get the slides up on the screen? I don't think.
Let me check.
Okay. So if anybody has ever played an Exquisite Corpse game, raise your hand. Wow. Okay, so we have a few people who know what we're going to do. So they can be helpful in their little area that they're in. So this piece of paper, does everybody have a big piece of paper that's folded into thirds? Does anybody need one? Raise your hand if you do. Andy can keep your hand up and Andy will bring them to you. So what we're going to do on this piece of paper is something similar to the question and answer. We're going to draw this time. And there's no pressure to be a good drawer. You can see that I drew this duck head and I'm not an amazing drawer or anything. So you can draw anything you want on the top, but it might be the head of something because the middle section could be the middle of the body and then the bottom section could be the feet. And so what we're going to do, again, like the question and answer, we're going to collaborate with someone sort of blindly. And the only rule is that you need to have some lines that sort of go over the. And your second participant, your partner that you're going to hand this to who didn't see what you did, will just continue on from there. And then they will carry that over again on the bottom part. So a third person will get to finish the drawing without having seen the first 2 parts. So you're all going to finish and start one and be in the middle, and then the last one you'll be able to hang on to. So does that make sense to everybody? The drawings in each section do not need to be representative. They could be abstract. They could be a bunch of squiggles. All that you have to do is carry a line over the edge, over that line, and fold that over. And the key is when you hand it to the next person, they can't see what had come before your part. Okay? So start at the top, have the lines crossed down over, fold it back, and hand it to the person, maybe a couple people over who haven't seen what you did. Everybody has a piece of paper? And this is another game invented by the Surrealists, and this is up from way back in 1924. So don't take too long. Just kind of do something quick, first thing that comes to you, and hand it to the next person. And everybody should end up eventually with a piece. If you need a partner, or you just raise your hand and somebody can bring it to you. So is somebody ready over here to swap? Does anybody need a partner? There we go. Kira. Does anybody over here need a partner? Need somebody to trade with? So are we on the second round or the third round now? Third, okay, great. Everybody's got somebody to trade with over here? You guys all behaving? So when you get to the third round, you can open it up. So if anybody's ahead of the class, they can open theirs up and see. But not until you get the final thing done, and then you can see all three parts. And again, these will be, we're going to pick some of these and display these so you can see them tomorrow morning when you come in. So this was a kind of a party game that the Surrealists liked to play, and there were a lot of neat images that came out of this activity. Hey, Andy? So as people are finishing up this last round here, if you get done early, you can look through the deck and you'll notice that the next thing that's sort of behind these first few games are a couple of more things about the Surrealists and a little explanation about the Surrealist movement. And then we'll get to these cards that just have a question on them. And that's sort of our next round. Front, back, and the sometimes the sides don't go together. Okay, so is everybody done on their third round? Have we finished them off? So you'll be able to, like I said, you'll be able to see those tomorrow. We'll have them displayed over here. So this next part, we really want to encourage people to talk to somebody they don't know. So we're going to have sort of a two-phase interview process that's happening with the cards. So if you could turn to someone that isn't from your city, someone you don't know, you may need to move a little bit. And the questions under the Ask cards, it says Ask, and there are cards with a black back and cards with a gray back. Start with the ones with the black back. And they're more about, they're kind of questions that aren't so city related. They're kind of just personal ones, not super personal, but just little conversation starters. And then advance to the round with the gray. So here's one key thing, if everybody could listen to me for a second. We want to make sure that if you have some good answers and you write them on the cards, you can write directly on the cards with a ballpoint pen. We'll collect those too, and we're going to display some of the answers that people came up with from both the city-related questions and the ones like the first one that says, I think it's, something that you like about me. Well, you don't know this other person, but you can figure out something you like about them just by looking at them, or you think they seem friendly, or they're not trying to hurt you right now, or something like that. So you can come up with something, but find a person, go through the 2 steps, and then we'll catch back up after that. So we really, at BigCar, we really want to thank the team from CEOs for Cities for this opportunity to do this.
Scroll this. I can't.
I also wanted to mention that,
Okay.
if you could hold on just a second, thank you. At the top of the deck, I know we were dealing from the bottom, but at the top of the deck, the cards say think. And there are quotes and facts related to cities that came from our collaboration with CEOs for Cities. So this deck has that, and it has a lot of other assignments and activities that you can do on your own, or with people at work, or with your family. So this deck is something to keep and take home. We do want to collect the cards that you wrote on if you want to give them to us. If you want to keep those forever, you can too. But we want to display the answers and share those, as well as the questions and answers you wrote and the exquisite corpses. And those will be up on the wall tomorrow when you come in, so you'll be able to see what everybody did. Thank you very much for your participation. We really appreciate it.